This is Ms. Geiger, and we're going to talk about the song study lyric selection. So, once you get into your Nearpod for this, I'm going to show you on a sample page. We're going to have a link to the song study overview right here. So, if you click on it, you'll get a message like this. You can hit yes, let's go, and all those directions will pop up for you, just like they would if you clicked on it inside Canvas. Um, let's go to the next page. It gives you a reminder of the directions for this part of the song study. This time you're mainly just going in, making a selection of your song and lyrics, and then doing a very brief analysis. So just reviewing the directions, you want to make sure in the typed area you put the title, artist, and lyrics in the text space. And then the commentary can be something you record. I'd like you guys to go ahead and make sure you address some of these. You don't have to address all of these, though. It's going to vary depending on what kind of song you choose. Remember that your lyrics cannot have expletive language or inappropriate themes for school, and it should be something that you enjoy and that you think might fit the song study well. So I'm going to use an example of a song I'm going to pick for the study as my model for all of you. So once you get in here, remember at the top here, it'll say see directions and image. You can click right here to see all of these as you go through. Okay, so I did a Google search to find my lyrics, and the title of my piece is called All the Rowboats by Regina Spektor. And I can always double check her spelling of her name. So then I would go ahead and paste in my lyrics. So I just pulled them up from Google. I'm going to go ahead and right click and hit paste. Now the formatting might be funky. If you want to go ahead and show where like the verses end to go in, that would be fine too. Like for example here, might have to double check another spot as well. There we go. So I took some time to go through and fix that. The other thing is if you have like a chorus that comes back and back and back again and it makes the lyrics really long, if you make sure you just have them a few times in key areas on here is good too. So the next part is to talk about the commentary of the piece. So if you do a little bit of research on this to help you come up with an analysis, make sure that you cite it at the bottom. So cite anything you have. But I'd like you to think about these yourself first as well. So this is one that I like to listen to a lot. I find it very interesting. So I would hit record audio. Up here in the top left corner, it might tell me to allow audio, and then I would go ahead and do that. And then from there, I can use some of these questions to help me go ahead and answer my commentary. One thing to think about with this is as you go through these, you don't have to answer all of them. And again, sometimes some of these depend on the type of song that you're choosing. So picking out ones that will help really explain and help you share what's going on in the main heart of your lyrics is important. So here's the questions, and I'm going to give sort of a sample commentary on the lyrics and the song itself as you go through. So the first one is there significance to the title? And it's called All the Rowboats by Regina Spektor. And All the Rowboats refers to a few times mentioned in the piece how the rowboats in paintings and oil paintings inside of an art museum are there, and it's sort of representing the art itself, or it's personifying the art. So that's what we're focusing on is primarily those paintings, even though we talk about other things in the museum as well. The next one, how do sound and figurative devices enhance the meaning? So that would be the sound of the lyrics themselves and how they go through and kind of make things sound, or maybe the tone or attitude that the singer or songwriter has towards what's going on. And then maybe some things like figurative language, similes, metaphors, symbols, onomatopoeia, alliteration, all of that good stuff that helps create those figurative ideas. So I'm going to show you some examples I would put into my commentary. One thing that sticks out in one of the parts down here is a lot of the alliteration to put emphasis on what's going on. We're talking about all these paintings at the end of the day when the museum is locked up. They say first it's lights out, then there's lock up. There's the L sound right here. And notice that it even creates its own little sense of rhythm for this part, right? Lights out, then there's lock up. It has the same amount of syllables, which I think is interesting. And it's very quick and definitive, just like inside of a prison, right? And then the next part has more alliteration and it uses the M sounds, masterpieces serving maximum sentences. Emphasis on the M in masterpieces and M in maximum. So, again, showing that these are great works of art, but almost the fact that they're being severely punished for being so wonderful. And then the lyricist goes in and even kind of shows that again by saying it's their own fault for being timeless. There's a price to pay and a consequence. All the galleries, the museums, right? So I feel like it's almost a alliterative way of kind of showing the rest of the line there. While there's definitely a story, I think that I would go to the next question if I were doing this particular piece and talk about who would likely appreciate the message of the song. In my opinion, it would be people who like to observe, consume, and create art. Is looking at the idea of what is the purpose of art in our lives and our world, and how should art be treated? How should it be celebrated? And I think that's sort of an important thing. If people who might be interested in hearing the song and looking at the message that it's bringing across. I selected the song. I thought it was very catchy when I first heard it, and then I started really listening to the lyrics after a few times of hearing it and humming along and really thinking about what the artist was actually trying to say within the piece. And I thought it was kind of an interesting thing that isn't normally sung about, and thought it was a really fascinating idea for a song. So, um, the last question kind of goes along with the other part who would likely appreciate the message of the song. I think that there would be special meaning to not necessarily a particular age group, but the idea of people who are artists who like to make art and also people who like to appreciate and celebrate art as well. So, that's some of the things I thought about. I was curious about where um, the songwriter might have found some of these paintings, and they also talk about a violin that's in here as well. So I did a little bit of research and I found out that when they wrote this song, Regina Spektor was inside of the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York City. So, because that is something that I looked up, I would want to cite that, and we can do that very informally by just putting the website here. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So here's where I did my research. I'm going to copy that and I'm going to go in here and paste it. So that way I'm crediting where I got my sources. Okay, once you're done, make sure you stop recording your audio and then it should allow you to submit everything you have with your lyrics and your sources and then also what you recorded. If you run into any trouble, let me know. I'll be glad to help and see you next time.